Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the IWCA show. I am your host, Gabriel Gutierrez. I am here so happy to talk with Joe Rocheleau. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we want to have you on because you are the chair of the IWCA Convention Committee. And unless you've been under a rock, our convention is coming up at the end of January. It's just right there. So we want to try and build up enthusiasm to get those ones who are still kind of on the fence. They're not sure if they want to go or not. We want to get them over the fence. Join us at the convention and so we want to talk with you about all the things that we can expect, how it's going to benefit our company, and just some of the things that are going on. So, why don't you just kind of update us on where the convention planning is and what things we can look forward to?
All right. Well, cool. Well, first off, obviously the convention's in Galveston, Texas.
Mhm.
And so early on, I figured we can't have a convention trade show in Texas without having a mechanical bull.
Oh, there you go.
So in the trade show, we're going to have a mechanical bull. And so that'll be there. We got a lot of things going on the trade show. We got claw machines, a lot of photo booths that we're going to have. Um, Oh my God, there's so many things that we've worked on this year. Um, Being that our convention is on an island, we wanted to make it as easy for people as we could. So this
Mhm.
year, breakfast and lunch are included
Oh,
for
nice.
every day of the convention.
Very cool.
It's going to be like a buffet style.
Okay.
Um, on Wednesday, I'm not sure about Thursday, but on Wednesday is when the trade show starts, and that's when we do our big demonstration station.
Hmm.
So we're going to have like a full on barbecue kind of thing outside at the demonstration station.
Oh, very cool.
Um, Speaking of the demonstration station, oh my God, it's unbelievable. It is the by far in all my years coming to the IWCA, I think it is the best area for demonstrations that we can have. It is a covered area, probably, and I'm being really conservative, 60 feet wide by 300 feet long, and it's
Wow.
covered. There's like five sections that have like 2 and 3 story glass that
Wow.
companies can come and demonstrate their products. At one end, Petzl is going to be there, and they're going to be demonstrating their high rise work
Look
because
at
that's
that.
also on Tuesday where we're
Yes.
going to be having the evaluations
Okay.
off of the garage like we've done in the past. So
Yes.
it's really going to be, you know, we kind of coined the term demonstration station, and I'd like to try and keep that going if we can throughout the years. Going forward, that this specific area is the area you just want to be. That's where
Yeah.
you want
Yeah.
to be. It's a you know just an exciting area. So on one end, you know, we'll have the rope set up for the evaluations, and then throughout the next 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, Petso will be um, demoing their equipment,
Yes.
and that kind of thing. We'll have guys going
Very
over the
cool.
wall. So those people that are, they might be residential guys that are like, man, I got an itch to get into high rise.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can kind of see a little bit about what it is. Um, then on top of that, we've got the classes. So
Mhm.
we did things a little bit different this year. Um, Talking to our education committee, they just didn't feel, they felt rushed, is what they felt. And I said, guys, I'll give you whatever you want.
Mhm.
And so we decided that this year, usually Monday is when they do the training and
Yes.
they do the evaluations. But our CIs, our safety director, they just weren't feeling that was enough.
Got it.
And so what we're doing now, and hopefully we can continue this going forward, is Monday is strictly training. So it's going to be half the day will be classroom, half the day is going to be hands on.
Okay.
So they'll go out to, excuse me, they'll go out to the parking garage where we're going to be set up. They'll do some hands on training with the guys because if you think about it, things have changed a lot. You
Yeah.
know, Before I got my guys, authorized and certified, they were using racks and things like that. And, their harnesses were dorsal, not
Mhm.
sternal. And,
Mhm.
you don't think about the safety aspects of anti-panic, until you're actually on ropes and you're like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
the way things used to be, I could just grab my rope grab and because I'm panicking and I'm disengaging it instead of, and now with all the new things that we have going on, they're anti-panic and they
Right.
stop you immediately. So there's all these things that people need to learn because they haven't used this equipment. They may not have used this equipment before.
Mhm.
So they're getting that extra day of training, and then on Tuesday we'll do the evaluations.
Okay.
So
Is this strictly with the RDS training?
that is strictly with the RDS training.
Okay, got it.
So with 1910 is going to be, the way it normally is. It's going to be a class and
Mhm.
certification and things like that. We've added more solar to this year, and that'll be out in the demonstration station as well.
Very cool.
We've got Steve Williams back
Yes.
again this year. He's a great guy. He's
Yeah.
very, very involved. Kevin
Well,
Hargis, one of our board members, is going to
yeah,
be helping him.
he and Kevin have done so much work on
Oh,
getting the solar, best practices put together and the research. Steve comes from overseas, so he brings a lot of that expertise from over there, which, it's a lot bigger industry in Europe than here. And he's starting to ride the wave that's coming out here in the United States and bring those important safety aspects.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's great to have that partnership with Kevin and Steve. And so we're going to have solar panels on site.
Nice.
And so one of Steve's classes is kind of like a two-parter.
Hmm.
So they'll do some classroom and then they get to come out and do some hands-on
Very
on the
cool.
solar panels that we have out there. So it's really, I think we've got a really good interactive plan this year for people to get their hands on some things. I think there's going to be a lot of traffic in the demonstration station this
Hmm.
year.
Hmm.
I'm really looking forward to that.
And I think that's really nice. I know some places like in Savannah, I thought it was really they had areas that were pretty good for the practice, but I can remember I think San Diego struggled a little bit in that where like we didn't really have good spots, and in Vegas too, there wasn't really good spots for people to
Yep,
demonstrate. So to have a designated area, I think is going to be really good, both for the vendors to be able to show what they do, because some of them do bring their own windows, some of them bring their own setup, but also to give those who are visiting, the members who are at the trade show, an opportunity to use the equipment themselves
sure.
and see how they
Eh,
like it and how it feels. So that's going to be pretty awesome that it's all set up there.
Absolutely. And that's something that we've learned or that I've personally learned over the last couple of years. you know, Vegas and even Orlando was a little bit difficult,
Hmm.
because
Yes.
you're as much planning as you can put into it, you're still at the mercy of the hotel.
Yes.
And not not that the hotel itself is putting any restrictions on us.
No.
It's just what, hey,
What's
do you have
available?
water source and electricity?
Yes.
I need both, and we don't, the area that you have available, we don't have this, or we do
Yeah.
have this. And so it's kind of forced us as a committee and as a board to look deeper into those things as far as
Yeah.
what's available, where we can be when we choose our location of
Right.
trade show.
How dare those hotel architects not plan for window cleaning conventions to come in, right? How dare they?
It's like going into a high rise. The architects think about everything but a janitor's closet.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, no, that's going to be wonderful. Now there's also going to, well, first, actually, before we talk about that, so I just want to stress because, usually a small, single owner operator, maybe they got one employee, they hear all of these certification classes, safety, RDS, solar panel cleaning, and they're like, well, that's for the bigger companies. I don't really need that. And maybe they're not they're not RDS, so they don't need that particular certification. But why should they think about the importance of getting certified, and especially with the safety aspects of solar and using ladders and water fed poles? Why is that important even for a smaller company to make that a priority?
Because there's so much more in OSHA than just high rise. So the 1910, there's a sub part that is high rise, but a lot of the OSHA 1910 is for residential and whatnot. I have a friend of mine that his brother has a small business, and I talk to him a lot, and I try to talk to them about safety and say, hey, these are the things that you should be doing. And people need to learn the things about residential roof rigging, and those things are covered in 1910 on how to be safe when you're climbing a roof. That when you get to anything over a 612 pitch, you're getting too steep to really walk on and keep your footing.
Yes.
And not that you should walk on it without any kind of safety gear anyway, because you're above 6 feet. But there's so much to learn at the convention as far as safety goes in every facet of our industry, whether you do residential window cleaning, whether you do pressure washing, whether you do high rise. There is a safety aspect that can be pinpointed for you, that you will be able to take something home from the convention and go, I need to utilize this in my company so that my employees go home in the same condition they showed up this morning.
What I always tell people is you don't know what you don't know. So if you have used ladders for 3 or 4 years but have never had any safety training, there's a possibility you are doing things that are unsafe that you just fortunately haven't had anything bad happen to you, but that doesn't mean that can't happen in the future. So if you go, you get the training, and then you learn, oh, hey, this thing that I've done all the time, I shouldn't be doing that. You stop doing that. And guess what? You don't ever have to worry about that bad thing happening because you learned and you educated yourself as to what the dangers are, and now you can avoid those dangers. Because I mean, just because you're a single owner operator doesn't mean you don't want to go home to your family, right? It doesn't mean you don't want to be able to walk upright or have to be in a wheelchair the rest of your life because you fell from a ladder that was used unsafely. So
sure, and all that safety training is free on our website.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, as a member, that's one of your benefits. Werner has offered us, oh my God, every ladder safety course that they could possibly produce, whether it be extension ladders, A-frames, piece ladders, and these people can get that information and be safe in the workplace.
Yeah, 100%. Very cool. Now, the other thing that I think is very valuable to single owner operators and smaller companies are the educational workshops that are there. There's people that are teaching classes for administration stuff, from anything from scheduling to hiring to bookkeeping to all that stuff. Then you also have got the more technical aspects, where you're actually learning stuff about water fed pole systems and how actual pure water works. I think that was beneficial for me because even though I'd been using it for a long time, I don't think I ever really understood the science of pure water and why it works.
Sure.
Yes. So there's classes like that. There's just a bunch of those types of classes. So what are some things that people can learn from and benefit as a business owner by attending these classes?
So there's several tracks, and we try to increase these every year, but I believe we have 5 tracks this year. So we have an owner operator track, and those kind of classes are going to be geared toward the owner of a company. They may be sales, they may be bookkeeping, they may be how to hire the right kind of people, those kind of things. We've got so many great speakers that are going to be teaching. Then you've got your technician track, which is going to be more of this is how you do this. This is where you get certified. This is what you need to do to be safe. This is, those kind of lines. We have the solar track. We have tracks that are going to be for managers. So there's things that your owners that the owners are doing on this side that the managers aren't necessarily going to be handling, which could be an HR issue, or how to properly supervise your employees and keep them safe and those kind of things. We always try to keep safety as the forefront of everything else, but safety as being paramount, it's not the only part of a business. You have the sales, you have the administrative part of it, you have there's several parts of running a business, and so we try to incorporate all of those things into the classes that we offer, where everybody, if they look at the schedule, can walk away with something that's going to benefit them. I've seen so many interviews with people that say, I was at the convention for this many days, but it was this one class that just slapped me in the face and made me think, oh my God, the light bulb went off, and I realized this is what I need to do. And my company's grown this far the following year. So there's really something for everybody.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. That happened to me. One of the classes I took, I think it was the one in San Diego. And that was my first. I always tell people that was my first, even though I'd been to one before, that was my first real convention because I actually took classes and I actually participated and actually, tried to meet people. I wasn't just there as kind of a voyeur. And one of the classes I took, it just really, like you said, it slapped me because on one hand, I felt bad because I realized how bad I was running my business, how inefficient I was. But then at the same time, it made me happy because now I had a direction to go, and I
Sure.
did the work that was ahead of me to turn this business that was successful in the sense that I had customers and I had good reputation, but to make it now profitable, where it was going to be
Right.
an actual business that cared for my family. And that was from those classes that I took, so we definitely, there's something for everybody, no matter what phase of your business that you're in.
Absolutely.
And then of course we have the networking. I think that is sometimes underrated. And if you've never been to a convention, you may not really think of, well, why would networking be that important? What aspects of networking are available to IWC members when they attend these conventions?
So here's, and hopefully I answer this in a good way. We have in years past, the board has been very heavily loaded with working and working the convention, and it's been kind of difficult for us to really get out and network with people and talk to them about the IWCA, talk to them about possibly joining a committee, possibly joining the board. And we have actually a large staff that is going to be doing a lot of the legwork for us, things that the board was doing in the past. And the board is going to be able to be out and being present in the convention, where we're able to talk to people. We're really working on mentorships this year, where we can meet somebody at convention or even not at convention. We've been doing the Zoom socials this year and working on mentorships that way. But it's like you said, people don't know what they don't know. People don't know they're hungry until food is put in front of them sometimes. And so sometimes, if we can, I don't like the word manipulate, but if we can manipulate things where the board is able to be free to mingle and say, hey man, I'm Joe, I'm president-elect, I'm going to be president of IWCA next year. What kind of business do you do? What do you do? And just having those small conversations can, one, build friendships that last a lifetime. Two, can help somebody else that is having questions or might be struggling in their business that, oh, hey, I know the perfect guy you need to talk to.
Yes.
Let me get you connected with him. I may not know the answer, but I may be able to get you with the right person that does. And so that's where that networking is huge. And one thing that we're doing this year too, that I think is going to be a hit, we're going to find out because it's the first time we've ever done it, is the trade show officially opens on Wednesday. And we always have a first timers event. And, so it's a special private first timers only kind of thing. This year, we're going to have that as a soft opening of the trade show.
Oh, nice.
So Tuesday night, only first timers to the convention are going to be able to go into the trade show. And
Nice.
so the board will all be there. We'll be able to talk to people. We'll be able to, talk to the newcomers about what the IWCA has to offer, the classes that they can do, the discounts they can get at other businesses. Plus, they'll be able to roam the trade show. And honestly, I've actually asked all of the vendors to kind of work on something special
Mm,
that they can produce that is just for the first timers. They won't be for sale to anybody else.
that is so
Only the
cool.
first timers are going to be able to get it. So, I'm hoping that that'll be a really big impacting thing for them that, this is great. This is for me. These people really care about what I do, that I'm being safe. And so, yeah, I think that's going to be a hit. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I think that's really a good idea. I know the one I can't remember. It was that one that I was mentioning, the first one I went to. Oh, I think it was San Diego. I think that's the one. And it was the one David Knowlton was the incoming president.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
and he was just so kind to me. I wanted to meet him just because I knew he was going to be the incoming president. I went and talked to him. I said, "Oh, can I get a picture with you?" And you know, he- him and Greg Reed were just so kind and paid so much attention to me. In fact, I remember David asked me, "Hey, did you get a wallet?" And I said, "Oh no, I didn't get one." He's like, "Oh, hold on right there." And he ran to some to some closet and came back with a wallet because he wanted to make sure I had an IWC wallet. And they were just so nice, and that really made me feel comfortable to come to the next one because that
Oh,
one, even
yeah.
though I'd been to one, I still felt kind of like a stranger or an outsider. By the next one, I felt like I was already part of the IWCA, like I'd been a member for years. So you can
Absolutely.
that outreach really pays off, and it really helps newer members to feel like, hey, this is something I can actually be a part of, not just a nominal name on a list that I can put on my website, but
Sure.
actually be a member that one can make a difference myself and help others, but two also take advantage of all the benefits that the IWC has to offer to help my business grow. So that's a really good idea for sure.
It makes me think about a story about David Knowlton. David Knowlton is my only competitor, and David Knowlton and I are great friends.
Hmm.
And it makes you can come to the convention and nothing else matters. We're all equal.
Hmm.
We're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But David Knowlton treated me the same way. And so his company and we may be competitors in the business world, but
Hmm.
that doesn't mean we can't be acquaintances and good friends
That's it.
and things like that in our personal life. And you gain that
Yeah.
through meeting people and talking at the convention.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know and so it's a world that's opened up to you that somebody might be in the same business that you're in, but they might be able to help you too,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
help you grow, help you do something else. And um it's not an animosity, it's not a grinding thing. It's just, hey, we're in the same business, and
Yes.
I've got something that might be able to help you, so here it is.
Yes. And just to put a fine point on that, what you just said, um, there's a lot of other conventions out there, and they're all great, and I've been to them and I've benefited from them, and they all serve a great purpose. But I think where the IWCA stands out is whereas those other ones are very commercially motivated, which again, nothing wrong with that, that they're put on by vendors and the vendors want to sell. That's totally understandable and acceptable. But the IWCA is run one, it's a nonprofit, and it's the members themselves are very selfless in that way. And they're
Right.
selfless with their wisdom, with the things that they've learned from their running a business. They're rooting for you. You gave a perfect example of that. They're not there just to say, "Oh well, I don't want to give out information because this may help my competitor get an advantage over me." People are they're freely sharing stuff that can really truly help your company, and they don't expect anything in return. And so the
Right.
networking is just so priceless in that way because there's a lot of contacts that I know I personally have called up and talk to people who are IWC members and pick their brain, ask their advice. And it's like they weren't bothered at all. They were happy I called, and they were happy to share their information and answer my questions and give me advice the best that they could. And so I think that is a special form of networking that only the IWC has, where
Sure.
there may be some people and others, but it just seems like the IWC is filled with people who have that attitude and want to help others. I think that's pretty special.
Like a family thing more than a,
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
I
So,
agree 100%.
so guys, if you're on the fence, please make it a point to get to IWC show in Galveston, and you're gonna really like it. It is worth. I know it can be expensive to travel and expensive to, maybe if you're a single owner operator, miss that work for that week, but that investment is going to pay off for your company for sure. One thing I did want to talk with you about too, Joe. We don't just have them here, conventions here in the United States. We had our first convention in Brazil. Could you tell a little bit about how that went, and what was the impetus to get that started, and how you feel like the event went?
Well, I'll tell you. So, how it started was we just had some folks from Brazil reach out, and they said, "Look, we want to do a convention, and we would like your support and your presence." And so we were able to get some people out there to be a part of the convention. Um, Obviously, it was smaller than the one we do. It was a much lower scale. Um, it went really well. They had their classes, they had window cleaning competitions, you know, um, international. We're the International Window Cleaning Association, and so we need to, when those kind of things come up, make a point to try and get out there too. We have to keep in mind that safety is different everywhere. We've got a possible member coming on the board next year that's from Canada. That safety up there is way different than OSHA here. In some aspects, their safety is more stringent than ours. We've got a member that may be coming on the board that's from Australia, and the same thing there. So, the goal with that is, what if we can produce some international safety documents, international safety classes for IWCA Canada, residential safety. We couldn't call it 1910 because they don't have OSHA up there, but
that equivalent.
But Brazil was a spark last year. And it's something that I definitely want to push to do Brazil again next year. I'd like to go several other places, and we'll see if we can make that happen as we get things to work out. But that's, as president next year, that's going to be my push, is an international presence.
Yes.
And because we have members that are international, and you never want to, you don't want them to feel left out. And people want to do. And we've got Steve Williams, and he's in the UK, and what a great resource we have for international, because that guy goes everywhere.
Yeah, for real.
So but yeah, so it's great. Brazil was definitely a stepping stone for us, and made us really realize, wow, we got to make a push for this. And I think the convention there was great. There was obviously a language barrier with the folks that we sent, because
Sure.
Of what they speak. So we got to battle that hurdle, and I don't think that's that tough of a hurdle to battle. Yeah. But that's where I think we're going to go.
Nice. Well, you can tell, especially with the Brazil convention, there's a hunger for guidance, and you've got so many window cleaners down there, and they're, it's a good business. And just in talking with Rick Conto, he was saying the challenge down there is equipment, because it's so expensive to ship things over there.
Sure.
And if they just had the access to equipment to know what was worth the investment, they would be a lot better prepared to know how to use their money, and that's why the convention's so valuable, because they get to hands-on look at things that otherwise they would not have an opportunity to try out, and see what works. But also just the safety aspect, like you mentioned, they don't
Sure.
want an OSHA down there, but they at the same time they want to safely get home to their families at the end of the day. So to teach them and to have those classes, and I've got to go on a couple Instagram lives with Rick, and I mean, they are just the people, even though it was just an Instagram live feed, they were asking so many good questions, and things that I think we take for granted because we have access to so much information. They could have that, and to have the IWCA as a standard and set the standard for these incoming groups that are in the different countries. I think it's so important to have that unified teaching so that we don't, because it's easy to get scattered. The message can get lost, and that way we can have it consistent and help people to be safe, but also to have profitable businesses, just by learning
Sure.
basic business standards that you just can't learn on your own.
And I think that starts with, for example, with Brazil, is their safety requirements aren't as stringent as ours. But if we can, like we have the OSHA ambassadorship in the United States, if we can work something with, these other countries where we're getting involved with them and we're changing the standards, then I think that means that the companies that are in those countries can when the requirements from the law say you have to use this, then they have a legitimate platform to say, okay, I have to charge this now because I have to purchase this kind of equipment.
Yeah.
And that might make things, even profitable for, the smaller businesses in those countries. So
Yeah.
that would be a real goal. And then, like you said, standardizing, things across the globe.
For reals, yeah, very cool. Well, I'm excited for the upcoming convention, but even more so, I'm excited to see where the direction goes with the IWC. And boy, wouldn't that be awesome to have like 6 or 7 conventions every year in different
Oh,
parts of the world? That would be so outstanding.
that is so my goal. That is
Yeah.
so my goal.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Thank you also for all the hard work that you do behind the scenes that we don't all get to see, because you can tell just in the way the conventions have gone, how they just increase in value, how the value that we get from it, and also the excitement and the entertainment that we get from it. It's a testament to your committee and how hard they work to make sure it's a good product for window cleaners to be able to benefit from.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Hopefully we see you at the convention, but if not, please keep this in mind. IWCA has a lot of things that can help you out and help your business to continue to grow and to be profitable and help you out. So you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later. Take care.
Thanks, Gabe.